When initiating the global operations and supply chain simulation, we were given control of a mobile phone manufacturer who was situated in North America. There was a product mix consisting of Phone A and Phone B, or Model A and Model B. Model A was the original functional phone that was produced by the manufacturer, which had a slightly lower cost with slightly lower margins, but a real market demand from past historical databases, which ranged from anywhere to 45 to 60,000 per month, whereas Model B was a more modern product with new innovations and a greater cost than Phone A. It received less real market demand with no real sales history and scored around 25 to 40,000 per month in demand. We were given 4 product design options for each year that would be innovative focuses for product design, and all options affected certain executives' forecasted demands negatively or positively as far as quantity went. Demand was forecasted as a solid, unchangeable number for each year and was forecasted by 6 executives from the phone manufacturer, including the chairman of board. Actual product demand did not occur within the 4 years until May, creating only 9 months of actual derived market demand. And based on the 6 employees' demand projections, the different product design options would fluctuate positively and negatively as far as forecast numbers went, creating a strong correlation between certain product designs and customizations versus others. Once the product options were chosen and demand was forecasted for the upcoming year, the supply chain strategy would be chosen in regards to manufacturing, taking into consideration lead time as certain factories were overseas versus local and had different capacities and startup costs. Among these suppliers, we had to strategically align our production to allow for the correct forecast demand, so inventory levels are managed as well as lead time based on the production time spans internationally and locally. Obviously, the local production facilities provided lower lead times of same-month delivery, whereas the international production facilities required 3 to 4 months lead time. The startup costs range from $1 million to $2 million, and any of the facilities could be chosen, including the options of all of them. All patterns, production time, and costs had to be chosen and maintained to allow for efficient levels of revenue and margin. Certain products had certain discounts that would arise around the end of the year, especially when there were too many products that were in stock, allowing for a better understanding of the needs within our product mix. This was obviously product B, which had an extremely low discount price when it came to that end of the year, creating the need for us to eliminate that and rather have a stock out of a few pieces of inventory rather than too much in inventory. So we decided on initially producing our Model A overseas at the cheaper factory that took $1 million as an initial cost and 4 months to produce, which was our functional product that essentially would require less innovation and quality management, whereas on the other hand, we decided to produce Model B locally at the cheaper location as it had just enough capacity to cover the demand necessary and would allow for more flexibility when dealing with the newer product. When demand increased in later years, we switched to a higher capacity production facility and even at one point had to produce Model A overseas and locally to accommodate such high demand. Overall, we believe our approach and understanding of the 2 different products and production options allowed for an effective form of forecasting and carrying out our production strategy.
One risk that future managers should be prepared for is having stockouts due to not having enough stock to meet demand. In our simulation, we had multiple times where our production was not enough to meet the demand, and this led to a loss of cost because we couldn't satisfy the customer. This occurred because of a couple reasons. The first is that the forecast for the demand was incorrect. When the actual demand was more, we only had enough to satisfy what we'd previously forecasted for. Another issue was when we did see that we were going to not be able to fulfill the demand, our lead time was too long for us to react quick enough to create enough product to keep up with the demand. The recommendation would be to invest in forecasting tools so that it is as close to the actual demand as possible. Also remain flexible enough so that you can react to any changes in demand, not only if it increases but also if it decreases. This is so that you don't run out of stock, but you also don't have very high holding costs associated with lots of inventory. Another risk that future managers would have to be aware of would be an environment and effects that cell phones have on customers. I bring up this risk because in the simulation it said that there was a study that came out saying cell phones increase the chance of getting cancer. This led to the demand of the cell phones drastically dropping, leading to not only fewer sales, but also led to us producing too much product and having large holding costs. I believe that this would lead to new rules and regulations on how the cell phones are being made and what goes into them. Also, it could lead to lawsuits against the company for causing people to get sick. The recommendation I'd make for this would be to listen to the customer about what they're saying about the product and how they feel, make the products high quality but also safe, and also work with the people making rules and regulations that could affect your business. A third risk is that they should prepare to deal with problems with product allocation. A problem that occurred during our simulation was that when one year we had underestimated the demand and had not planned for enough production, we overreacted to this, and in the following year we opened up another plan to hopefully avoid stockouts and to shorten lead time, but this led to way too much production and very high inventory costs. We opened up the plant to increase our capacity, while again also shortening the lead time, which it did, which was successful in doing, but we made too big of a change and overproduced. While solving one problem, we created another problem for ourselves. The recommendation I would make to this was to not react to swings in either direction, while also trusting your forecasts and investing to make sure they are as accurate as possible.
The first opportunity our team has is to implement a buffer or safety stock. As mentioned before, we strategically set up our functional products to be produced at the further or overseas location, while the innovative products were produced at a closer location. In year 2, we had to issue a production change order because we ran out of stock for Model A at the further location. In order to reduce lead time to meet demand quicker when this stockout occurred, we transferred some of the capacity of Model A products at the further location to the closer location that was producing Model B, creating a type of buffer stock. We only did this 1 year and stopped doing it. Reintroducing and further implementation of this opportunity can be done as an insurance in case of stockout at the further location in future years. 10 to 20% of Model A's can be produced at the closer location in case of stockout at the further location and demand needs to be met quickly. This can reduce the lead time and help the further location catch up to the demand in times of need. This is an opportunity that we created 1 year and only implemented when a problem occurred. Re-implementing this plan on a yearly basis would help meet demand quicker in case of stockout before the problem occurs and a production change needs to be issued. A second opportunity we face is raising production levels to meet the peak demand. Throughout every year, we had to issue a production change order and experience stockouts for both models at different times. We were using a level production strategy by producing an average amount of product to meet fluctuating demand and basing our predicted capacity off of predicted demand. When this strategy failed, we started chasing the demand as we had to issue production change orders to adjust our capacity levels for different models at different locations in order to meet the higher demand. Unfortunately, we were not meeting the demand when it was peaking. Due to this, an opportunity would be to adjust and overestimate the average production levels so it can meet the higher peaks of demand at all times and not sacrifice profit and cost of issuing a production change order. Holding costs might be affected. The next step would be finding the right amount to hold in order to have the lowest amount of holding costs as possible while meeting the peaking demand. Our third opportunity lies in the open choice of being able to expand to more suppliers, both far and close. This is a great opportunity if demand starts to increase over time. Expanding to more locations will create more supply chains with capacity to meet demand.
In our first year of operations, we made some decisions which both positively and negatively affected our net revenue by the end of the year. Our best decision, to which we credit our success, was our decision to invest $1 million into running a marketing conference at which we introduced our new product, Model B, to the market. We believed this boosted our demand for Model B phones. Our forecasted demand for Model B was slightly below actual demand, which led to a stockout a lot sooner than we had at all anticipated. This prompted us to issue a production change order to make up for remaining demand, which costed us more money, but we still finished the year strong, making a profit of $46,245,300. During our second year, we made a few decisions which negatively affected our final profit for the year. So much so that we saw a profit more than $10 million lower than that of year one's profit. Our error was in choosing a production facility that could not meet our demand needs for Model A in a timely manner. As a result, we had to issue a production change order to allocate 5,000 of the unit spaces for Model B at the very close facility to Model A in order to meet the demand in time. This resulted in the much lower profit of $35,574,040 for our second year. Our third year performance was not strategically worse than our second, but did result in the lowest profit yet. We were just recovering from a poor production facility selection in our second year and ended up making a similar mistake this year. We at first wanted to completely eliminate the Pretty Close facility in favor of another production facility. But when we discovered we couldn't do that, we had to issue a production change order to move 10,000 units of production from far away facility to Pretty Close facility. We also overestimated demand for Model B phones, which brought with them holding costs that dented our profit, leaving us with $30,873,980 of profit at the end of the third year. Our fourth year of operations was our best yet. We made a decision this year that led us to our highest profit. We turned things around upon our newfound understanding of the cost benefits of focusing our efforts on stockout costs rather than holding costs. Instead of trying to overstock models this year, we tried to operate more lean by knocking our demand forecasts for both models down to their averages. We decided to issue a production change order earlier in the year to prepare for the decline in demand that would occur towards the end of the year, in an effort to eliminate holding costs of excess Model B phones to generate a retained profit. These efforts resulted in a profit of $47,806,960 in our fourth year. Our turning point may have been late, showing up in our final year of operation, but it was a positive change for our company nonetheless. It was a result of our decision to weigh the importance of saving on holding costs by stocking out of Model B phones, which resulted in a retained profit. Had we had the chance to operate for a fifth year, we are confident we would have seen an increase in profit once again.